and allied areas, promoting understanding and cooperation amongst the scientists working in this area, and disseminate information and knowledge through seminars, symposia, conferences, and workshops, publication of news bulletins, journals, and abstracting service, helping universities and other institutions in design and development of courses of study and syllabi in solid-state chemistry, and training the future generation of scientists in this subject to face the challenges of the materials development. I am further glad to know that the association has set up ISCAS Institute of Solid State and Material Science at the Jammu University campus. This national level institute provides research facilities and guidance in solid state chemistry for academia and research workers from all over the country. Besides the research activities, the institute provides opportunity of interaction amongst the practitioners of solid-state chemistry and allied areas at the national level through seminars, symposia, conferences, and workshops. I am immensely happy to know that scientists working in the solid-state and allied areas are honored by the association through ISCAS awards biennially for their outstanding contribution in the subject at the national level. I wish this prestigious conference a grand success. Now a little story of science. I enjoyed Professor Indu Bhushan's extemporaneous and a situation in his heart and mind, this is my first experience to see a scientist speaking extemporaneously and giving his own experience in this way. I have areas of agreement with what he spoke, but I have a disagreement in one area. I don't think there is any shortage of funds. It is for you to explore the possibility of getting funds. I have an understanding in my mind that funding is no problem. And you should have the will to do it. You did it at the University of Jammu, and you are making, say, annually you give awards and you spend and you said by the contribution of teachers themselves is a very great thing. I salute you for that, you see, gesture, because otherwise the research is funded by the government only. And the universities from their internal resources. But the shortage of funds, I will not accept. So this will remain as a disagreement. Now, a short story of science is that I had a situation in my life that I felt in a distant point of time that I had wasted my life. Because science is so fundamental to all human development. I became conscious of this when I had no time to study science. And this remained with me something missing in my life. And it's the 30-year before situation in my mind, and I felt from the class first or the nursery, when you offer the language, that is time to offer so many languages, because the child has a perceptive mind. 3 or 4 languages at the same time. Languages won't be learned by the child one after the other at intervals of so many years. So that is the point of time you offer language, you offer also science. Because I have an experience of learning science, a little of it. It so happened that my teacher, Aga Ashraf Ali, I don't know, he worked as a junior colleague of Dr. Zakir Hussain Khan at the Jamia Millia Islamia very long ago. And he told me, he came to me and he said, there's a book on general science. You translate it into Kashmiri. I said, I don't know a word about science. I have been, I studied at my graduation level, I studied Persian literature and English literature with economics. So I said, I cannot do it. You can do it because it is a very, Science is common sense. You just get down to this book, 130-page book for youngsters, children. 100,000 Whys. That is the title. And he just told me to go through the book. I finished that in one night because it was so interesting. And I found there was no algebra or trigonometry. It was nothing. Two Russian, not scientists, two brothers knowing some science. M. Ilyin. This is just I'm drawing from my mind. The book is not available now in Delhi. 100,000 Whys. And M. Ilyin in 1917, those two brothers wrote this book that about your living room, the articles you see there, you can raise 100,000 questions. And science is nothing beyond raising questions. And therefore, on this auspicious occasion, I remember my teacher, Dr. Zakir Hussain Khan. I never learned any lesson from him directly because he wrote Ta'limi Khutbat, Discourses in Education. And he had raised a question that Nanna Madrase Chala. In these days, that book is not studied. Unfortunately, I told Khurshid Alam Khan Sahab and Salman Sahab that should be translated in English. That is a great loss to the fraternity of teachers that Zakir Hussain Khan's Ta'limi Khutbat has not been translated into English, much less in Hindi. So, Nanna Madrase Chala. And there is a word of advice to teachers, to parents. Parents, you get rid of the child and you forget about him. You have to keep in touch with him. And to teachers, you go on listening to the child, never rebuke him for raising a question. That is the essence of education, the learning process. So, I don't know what happens in the schools, but the child should not be rebuked for raising a question because that is learning science from the young age. And when I translated that book, because there is a shortage of time for me because I have to go to Parliament, so, and I mustn't, you see, prolong it. Cutting it very short, I translated that book into Kashmiri. And it was a wonderful situation that not about the universe, not about the university, not about this whole complex, but about the living room, you can raise 100,000 questions. And usko 8 lakh सवाल और 1 लाख सवाल लिविंग रूम के बारे में उठ सकते हैं और उनका जवाब. Anyway, I translated it and it got published. I don't know whether Kashmiris studied it or not because Kashmiris study more of Urdu. And Urdu is the language which is official. But one fine morning, I got the news from the radio that I had been awarded Soviet Land Nehru Award. That award is not now after the, after the Soviet Union was gone and the Russian Federation emerged. I don't think that award is now currently available. But it was Soviet Land Nehru Award. Oh, it took me to Moscow. And that was my 6th chance to go to Moscow. And that is the book. That is questions. And so many questions can be raised. And when I became Environment and Forest Minister in 1997 with Deve Gowda ji and Gujral Sahab, I found that I had realized that I have wasted my life. Literature is good, but science is so essential in life that I had already realized that I have to learn some science. So, as Environment Minister, desertification and climate change and biodiversity, I became a student to learn something. And I had the privilege of leading Indian delegation to Kyoto for the Kyoto Protocol, which you must be knowing, 97. And then I became in UPA first Water Resources Minister. And I found that without science you can't do anything. So therefore it's a message, maybe this seminar is not appropriate to carry this message forward because we are concerned here with solid state, you see, chemistry. But this is the message that from the lower KG or the, I don't know what is the, when the child goes for what situation in a school. That is the time that science should start. That child will know about some water, its color, combination of things. He or she will know red and blue and all that. This is all science. So therefore, if we have to structure curriculum at, say, in the school system, that will lead to the secondary and higher secondary and college stage, then we have to stress to organize an atmosphere for the children to raise questions, hundreds and thousands of them, and the teacher will be trained to answer those questions. And if he doesn't know the answer, then he has to go around and find knowledgeable people to answer those questions. And that is the climate for science. And unless we create that climate of science, we cannot. When Professor Indu Bhushan was talking of research, Indira Gandhi, late Prime Minister of India, had raised a question: all research has to be socially oriented. It should be relevant socially. If the research is for the sake of research, it doesn't help human beings to change their lifestyle and benefit from that. It is a wasteful exercise. But that's a broader question. But he said quality research. I also say the research has to be socially oriented. And he gave the message, and we shall hear much more from Gopalakrishnan ji and Rashid Saab. And I think, since I said I wasted my initial years in life not knowing anything of science, then I tried to learn. I couldn't learn, but when this invitation came, I thought I must tell this small story of general science. And ultimately, I found that book was meant for children, but that book is meant for all scientists of India. And I wish Jamia Millia, this library, university library, has that book by, it was translated into English in 1934 by a publishing company called Beatrice Kincaid, and it was 1934. And that written in 1917 by two Russian brothers, M. Elin, I have forgotten the second name. Why I say it? I say it because research has to, you see, be produced that will make Indian society benefit from that, and that will make India great. And I wish this conference a grand success, and I know solid state chemistry is basic to all development science. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we have Professor S.M. Rashid, Pro Vice Chancellor Jamia Millia Islamia, on the dais, who is presiding the ceremonial. Professor Rashid is a reputed professor in the Department of Department of Geography, Jamia Millia Islamia. He was also the Dean, Faculty of Sciences, Jamia Millia Islamia. Okay.
Thank you. Professor Saifuddin Soz, Honorable Minister of Parliament, Professor Gopalakrishnan, the keynote speaker of the day, Professor I.B. Sharma, President ISCAS 2011, Professor Sharif Ahmed, Head Department of Chemistry, Professor Taqir Ahmed, the convener of the conference, distinguished delegates, colleagues from Jamia, ladies and gentlemen. When Professor Saifuddin Soz started his inaugural address, he made a statement that I am puzzled why I am not being called because I am not a scientist. But when he finished, I'm sure that all of us must agree that he is a great scientist. I could recollect the days when he was the Honorable Minister of the Water Resources, the initiative which he had taken for the restoration of the water conservation activity processes certainly is an evidence of his scientific temper. This conference had to preside by my Vice Chancellor, Professor Mr. Najib Jung. He had a meeting in the ministry and he expressed his good wishes for the successful outcome of the conference. Let me say that though Professor Sols has claimed, but I am confidently saying that I am completely blank on chemistry. Completely blank. I have never learned chemistry. Even I have never learned science. But I can simply say that beginning and the end of this word goes to the simply the ingredients within the chemistry. As one of the Urdu poet put up in a couplet, Zindagi kya hai anasir mein zahur-e tartib, maut kya hai inhi ajza ka pareshan hona. What is life? It is the integration of the elements, that is the periodical table. And what is the destruction? What is the death? It is the destruction, that is the U-35 isotope ka break hona. On this occasion, it is my profound duty to welcome to you all in Jamia. Jamia, the institution which was established in 1920 by none other than the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, has his followers, Zakir Hussain, Hakim Ajmal Khan, Mukhtar Ahmad Ansari, Ali brothers. But most importantly, the people who are coming from outside Jamia little know about Jamia, what Jamia it is. Is it a Muslim madrasa? Is a completely Muslim-dominated educational institution? But when they come to Jamia, stay Jamia, interact with the people in Jamia, they realize that this is the true India. Because in Jamia, we have no biases, completely no biases against caste, creed and religion. And I'm sure that during your very short stay for next 3 days, you will come in you yourself will realize that certainly Jamia is placed to stay forever. This is something very important about the Department of Chemistry. Professor Sharif Ahmad shared that the department was established in 1963 as a BSc pass program. But one of the great Indian scientists, Professor Akhlaqur Rahman Khidwai, former UPSC chairman, was first science graduate who happened also to be a chemist. At this occasion, when we are having this conference and the scientists from across the country are meeting over here on the solid state chemistry and the frontiers that could be opened in the further researches in the solid state chemistry, and the way Professor So shared and expected the meaningful researches which could be carried out and the scenario which we are having in Indian sciences, I could recollect 2 years back a story and then day before yesterday's story, and I'll just try to correlate it. I'll not take too much time, but this is very important to share with you because you are all scientists. The story is that 2 years back when Najib Jung Sahab joined Jamia as a Vice Chancellor, in his very initial meetings, first and second day, he's raised one important question to the people in Jamia. Why we ask of the Harvard and why we talk of the Oxford and why don't we talk of Jamia? Why in Delhi University and Jawaharlal Nehru University and St. Stephen's is talked about, but why the people don't talk of Jamia? We took it as a very simple question and saw that this is his first or second day and he's having a great expectations. But then day before yesterday, we have another guest in Jamia, Professor Hasnain, former Vice Chancellor, University of Hyderabad. He delivered an lecture, Excellence in Higher Education. It appears to be a simple lecture, could be, but the question is that when we talk of the excellence in higher education, that makes the universities to emerge a #1 in the world and #1 in India, then there are certain required parameters that should essentially be looked into and addressed by none other than the we scientists and we the university system. Like employability, number of the patents, ratings, index. All these parameters contribute towards a composite index that lead us to be called as number one in the world. I say, in spite of the very, very meaningful researches which are being carried out in Indian Institute of Science, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, and one of the most premier Indian Institute of Technologies and some university systems, why we could not have a single chemist or physicist or biologist or biotechnologist or an economist to be reaching to a status of a Nobel laureate. Our goal must be defined. And if we can define our goal in those terms, that we could be called as number one in the world, or some of our universities could emerge as a number one in the world, or number two, or number three, then I think that we are certainly carrying out some meaningful research. I expect and I wish that deliberations in this conference should also focus this larger issue, because this is a very important issue. Because you cannot make any significant contribution on the basis of which Carl Morgan was called as father of solid-state chemistry. If you have to contribute the way Carl Morgan has contributed, then you have to emerge to the levels which Carl Morgan emerged to. I wish all success for this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we have Professor J. Gopalakrishnan, the keynote speaker for the ceremonial. He is an eminent and distinguished professor across the country. What I could say except that he is a living legend in the area of solid-state chemistry. Now I formally request Professor A.K. Ganguly to formally introduce Professor J. Gopalakrishnan to the audience.
Thank you very much for the introduction. First of all, yeah, you have enough introduction has been done. Let us take it that I have been introduced already. So to save time, say I am Gopalakrishnan from Bangalore. I've been, practicing solid-state chemistry, let us say for something like, I have forgotten, maybe 35, 40 years. Worked with the famous and distinguished Professor C.N.R. Rao. And we have produced, I think I can say, some good students from our department. And some of them are sitting here, like Professor Ganguly, Professor Ramanan, Professor Uma, and so on. I learned that the organizer of this conference is actually our grand student. He belongs to Bangalore in the sense he is student of Professor Ganguly. So this fraternity of solid-state chemists in this country is very closely knit to family. Therefore, when they invited me to come to this conference and give this address, I felt so delighted. It's like coming home. It's belonging to this family, small family. We are a small family of solid-state chemists. So I felt very happy to come, and that too, this setting is so wonderful, fantastic university. Although I came to Delhi on many, many occasions, I never had an occasion to visit this campus. So nice, and for the cause of education, I understood later on going through the internet, this university has been doing quite a lot of things. So there is a big need for materials. There is a big need, and we want all kinds of materials for advancing technology. And that is what I do. Could I have the next one, please? Please stay here. Yeah. This is a kind of abstract which is given in the abstract book, so I don't want to spend much time on that. Please go to the next one. You can keep it here. Keep it here. Comfortably stand here. I will look like it. Now, I want to draw your attention. Both United Nations Educational Scientific Organization, that is UNESCO, and the International Union of Human and Applied Chemistry have declared 2011 as the International Year of Chemistry. This I am sure most of you people in the chemistry community will be aware of that. And the purpose of doing this
of Science has brought a special issue in the beginning of the year on the importance of this chemistry and the International Year of Chemistry. And there are famous articles. I just want to draw the attention of the younger people, especially faculty members and students, to read this particular issue of Nature, where leading practitioners of this subject like George Whiteside is from Harvard, they have said, what is it that chemists have to do today in order to make their subject very viable, useful and also practical to the society? Chemistry needs an overhaul of itself to solve big global problems and advance fundamental understanding. I don't want to go on each step by step of this article, just want to focus your attention. Read this article. It is very, very well revealing the kind of things that you want. Go to the next one, please. Now, I have highlighted what are the global challenges today, how chemistry can contribute, what chemistry has done in the past, and things like that. Now, one important thing that he says is, in the society, people don't bother. See, we have been talking as chemists, making materials, synthesizing materials, determining the structure, then measuring the properties, then making correlation between structure and properties and synthesis and so on. People have no patience to listen to all those things. People want the material that you make, whether it is solid or whatever, organic, inorganic, hybrid or whatever, whether it will serve some purpose. See, people don't care the pill that you have, the chemical that you have, what is the structure it has got. It is unimportant. How you made it also is unimportant. If I take the pill, if it can lower my blood pressure, okay, if it can cure my illness, if it can cure my cancer or whatever, if it can serve some purpose, that is not what people want. They don't care. That doesn't mean that you should not do. All these things should be done at the back of your mind with your students and colleagues. But then what is in the market, when you go outside and talk to the public, that is important, is what it can deliver. That is the aspect that we are missing. We have all along been telling that we want to make materials are very important, materials will solve all our problems. That is the problem of we Indians. I've been in this game for 30-40 years, I can boldly say that we have to go beyond this laboratory work, that just looking at the structure, properties, going to conferences, presenting papers and getting funds and so on. That is the first stage. That stage is over now. We have come to the stage where actually whatever you have made, you have synthesized, you are going to go to the marketplace. That is where we are missing out. We in India, although we are very capable and we can do that, that next stage is what is missing out. We are looking at the practical aspects of the chemistry that we do in the laboratories, that has to be translated into actual products that can solve problems of humankind and problems of our society. Okay, now please go ahead. So that is what he says. George Whiteside says that people don't care. The pill that we have made, if it can lower the blood pressure, that is what is more important than looking at the structure and properties and so on. Okay, please go to the next one. Yeah, the article goes on. What are the challenges? What are the solutions and so on. Here, go to the next one. In this same issue, what they have done is just look at the past. Who are all the great chemists who have contributed to the development of this science for more than, let us say, from the time of Michael Faraday and so on, Antoine Lavoisier, and Dmitri Mendeleev, and Willard Gibbs, and Strauss, Arrhenius, among Arrhenius, Marie Curie, George Porter, and Graf. These are some of the great people. Some of them are Nobel laureates. Some of them could have got Nobel Prize, like Mendeleev. Mendeleev should have got a Nobel Prize, but at that time there was no Nobel Prize. Willard Gibbs should have been given a Nobel Prize, but then he was just before this one. And their contributions are very well known. What Antoine Lavoisier has done, what Mendeleev has done, what Marie Curie. By the way, Marie Curie, the first lady Nobel laureate, actually she received 2 Nobel Prizes. This 100th year of her Nobel Prize. So that happens in the centenary year of Marie Curie. So, go to the next one please. Now, they have collected the opinion of some 10 great practicing chemists generation of great people in chemistry, like starting from Anton Lavoisier, Mendeleev, Willard Gibbs and so on. What is the connection they make? How it becomes relevant and so on. That is the kind of connections they make. Like Paul Werner from Stanford, he says you have to look through the molecular lens. So every disease, every property, DNA, RNA, protein, everything, biology, whole biology itself you can through the lens, through the molecular lens. That is what is called molecular biology. So biology became molecular because molecules are the fundamental things that carry the information of genetic information. Whatever things go wrong in your body, that is because of some wrong folding of proteins and this and that, people say. So molecule and its structure and properties is important. Then better living through chemistry. Actually, I think Ganguly will remember, this used to be the slogan of DuPont. Okay, better living. Whatever you want in life, that comes through chemistry. Next one, please. Make the chemical processes greener. This is one catchy thing, bandwagon that people want to get it. Anything that you do, any chemical synthesis, do it in such a way that it doesn't pollute the atmosphere. Because we know the problem of pollution, just to go out, I think Delhi has become cleaner these days, but go to Bangalore or any other city, so the kind of pollution is unimaginable. You can't just go outside without catching some kind of a breathing problem and things like that. So you have to learn to make whatever you are making, synthesis, all chemical processes, chemical processing industries, you have to make it greener. And then mimic how nature makes polymers. After all, we are not the human beings alone making polymers. Nature has made polymers. All those cellulose, carbohydrates, everything has already been made. So nature has been making polymers. Mother Nature has been making polymers from time immemorial. All that we have to do is, if we want to make some useful polymers, look at Mother Nature. How she has made. Photosynthesis. How, starting from simple carbon dioxide and water, you can build all the complex organic molecules using sunlight and so on. And that is the kind of message. Foster synthetic self-assembly. Of course, I don't want to dwell about self-assembly because this is one of the other important supramolecular chemistry and so on. This is one of those famous areas of research that has come in recent times. Go to the next one, please. Replicate photosynthesis. Already I have said, Alivistidos is the important name, big name in today's chemistry in the US. And he says, you have to replicate photosynthesis by looking at, he considers Melvin Calvin, biological carbon cycle, and then he looks at what are the old papers. Rather than pick a favorite scientist, I prefer to call attention to a remarkable paper on the influence of carbonic acid in the air upon the temperature of the ground. And that was by Svante Arrhenius. You know the name of Arrhenius is very well known to chemists. Arrhenius' law of actuation and so on is very well known. I think he is the first or the second Nobel laureate, Svante Arrhenius. Today we are talking about the influence of carbon dioxide in global warming, global temperature. See the globe, the earth is heating up because the way that we are burning the natural resources indiscriminately is causing global. Everybody is alarmed now, the way things are happening. But mind you, Svante Arrhenius in philosophy